A transformation has been taking place in China beyond what the media headlines can capture. Powerful forces, both spiritual and secular, are at work. As more and more people are coming to the US, more and more Chinese intellectuals are hearing the gospel during their time in the US. China is transforming because these people are bringing the Christian influence back to China. Lord commanded his disciples to go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations. Current trend of the study abroad wave of Chinese intellectuals in North America is a great opportunity to minister to Chinese young professionals. Therefore, it is critical for Chinese churches in America to act and reach out to their own people. The purpose of this Pathfinder is to motivate Chinese churches in Naperville to minister to the Chinese young professionals and students in North America. This Pathfinder will show evidence of the need for gospel of the Chinese students in America. It will also address the issue and the future of the current Chinese churches. My mission statement is prompt Chinese young professionals to follow Christ. And my research question is, what are the best practices in Chinese churches in America that helped Chinese young professionals in the US to follow Christ? And my major discovery on this topic is that for reaching out the Chinese intellectuals, one of the methodology for me was Osborne and Sue's book, which is called China in Our Midst. They proposed to have American Christians as the welcoming faces to the Chinese students to show welcome to America in the airport when the Chinese international students landed. And whenever there are a need of discipleship, and when Chinese students converted to Christianity, they can send the Chinese students to Chinese churches and Bible studies, so they could be the Chinese church will have an advantage of culture and language, and that will help them to be successful in discipleship. One of the resources I recommend is from the column of contextualized and local basis. China Outreach Ministry is one of the ministries in North America that's reaching out in different universities around North America to international Chinese students. This is very important because they provide training, discipleship, publishing materials for Chinese Christians, and building relationships for churches to reach out more and more Chinese students in America. Therefore, I recommend this resource. They address the problems of churches in America, and also they address the methodologies of reaching out to Chinese students. And my old research question was, what are the effective ways for young professionals to come to Christ? And under the help of my group members, I changed my new research question to, what are the best practices in Chinese churches in America that helped Chinese young professionals in the US to follow Christ? the reason I changed it is because I narrowed it down to from young professionals to specifically Chinese young professionals, and also in the USA. And my old mission statement was influence young professionals to be like Christ. Then I improved my new mission statement to prompt Chinese young professionals to follow Christ. The reason why I changed it, the verb, which I think influence will need to have a stronger spiritual life to be able to influence people, but prompt is more depending on the work of God. And also, Chinese young professionals will be more specific target, and the outcome is measurable by the scripture to follow Christ. And one of the other major takeaways for me is that I received the training, the passion from ministering to a Chinese Bible study to international students. But during my research, I found that not only I can reach out to international students in America, but also under the influence of Chinese culture and with Christian culture, that these Chinese students, when they go back to China, they will have a major change in the Chinese community in China and the social structure as well. And I will never forget, this is a research practice that I learned, process versus format, which is, for example, like we ask question, why versus what. And when you ask what question, it's a simple question, but the why question, you really need to dig deeper to find the why. And my invitation to you, whoever is listening, is that to invite a Chinese student, international student to church, because you can make a difference by inviting them to church and preach the gospel. One day you might be contributing to the whole cultural change and the social structure change in China.